What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how are we doing on this beautiful Tuesday morning?
You've asked me about 6 times now because this recording has taken like a million years to get going. But long story short, just dumped an entire glass of soda on my computer. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Pat?
Doing fantastic. Besides the hour-long process it's been to start this show, I'm doing fantastic. So there's a few guys that are going to be competing in spring training for that Yankees starting shortstop position. Anthony Volpe, Oswald, Peraza, and IKF will all be competing for that shortstop spot. So, Dan, I guess we'll say, without factoring in any personal preference here, who do you truly believe is going to be the guy on opening day?
Oh, yeah. So let's get serious here. This is a very important conversation because we really don't know. Now, if there's one guy I'll trust in regards to what will actually happen with the Yankees, and I think we can both agree on this, Jack Curry. He's very connected to what's like legitimately going on. He seems to have like the most reliable sources in organization. He said that the shortstop position is Oswald Peraza's to lose. And I feel like I may have put like the wrong vibe out there a little bit with how excited I am over Anthony Volpe because he's my guy. I think he's the everyday shortstop by Memorial Day or like June at the latest, right? But I think it'll be Peraza, and that's not a bad thing. June 1st on last year at AAA, like he was conquering it, dude. 291, 14 homers, 131 OPS plus. And dude, I feel like I always forget too. Granted, it was only 18 games. He was legitimately good with us in the regular season for like the 2 weeks that he was there.
Yeah.
Also, playoffs looked more than fine. And obviously, the defense is better than IKF. So I think you're looking at Peraza opening day, Volpe by Memorial Day. And then IKF, you're going to pay $6 million for him to be backup infielder. That's my take. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the take. However, I mean, you look at IKF, and I think he's the definition of a stopgap, right? I think that that's what they kind of went into 2022 with the idea of, and I think it was a little bit too early to go with the stopgap. But I think if you were going to go with the stopgap shortstop, I think now's the perfect time to do so, with Volpe probably being up within the first couple months of the season. I just don't really see it making too much sense for Peraza to kind of, I mean, maybe like for trade value, if you're hoping that he can maybe rake in the majors in the first month of the season and build up his trade value a little bit more. But I think if you're sticking with him in the organization going down the road, I can't, then it's like an Andujar situation or like a Florial situation where it's like you're constantly sending guys up and down. Like a guy like Peraza, who's a top prospect, not only in the Yankees organization, but I mean also across the league as well. I feel like that's just, I don't want to say demoralizing, but it's kind of just like diminishing him to a level where it's kind of just like you're on the Scranton shuttle now, rather than just like, yo, because going into the season, it's like if you go in with Peraza as your starting shortstop, he knows and everyone else knows that like no matter what he does, Anthony Volpe is most likely coming up and
I
stealing his
disagree with
job in a
that.
couple months.
I disagree with that. Now, I know what you're saying about Andujar. I think the difference, though, is whatever you do with Peraza, and this goes for every single prospect, you got to make sure they're playing every single day. With
Yeah.
Andujar, when he was getting called up, like at least after 2020, I mean, his playing time was sporadic as hell. If that's the case with Peraza, then they're fools. I still think he does get traded, but I will say I could see a world where him and Volpe, like there's a world I think where they are both playing shortstop and second base come October. Is it likely? No, because I do think Peraza is going to get traded. But if he tears a cover off the ball, before Volpe gets called up, they're not just going to send him back down. So does he move over to second base then and Volpe takes over at short? That's fine. But IKF can't be really in the picture at all. I think the fact that he is even going to be on the roster is quite laughable. I'm one of the believers they should have non-tendered him. I still think they should maybe try to trade him, and they could by, the deadline. But the stopgap, man, like I don't think we're at that point anymore. Like that was last year, if that was reasonable at all, which I don't necessarily think it was. I think Peraza was ready to go way earlier than they brought him up. But dude, IKF cannot. Are you thinking he might start up in day? You're saying?
Yeah. I
Really?
mean, but I want to make it clear that like that's
That'd
not
be a
what I
shit show.
want.
I know. I
That's
can't
not what I
imagine that's
want.
the case. Total failure by the
just-
Yankees if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, bro. It's a really, really weird situation because the Yankees are crowded with infielders that, I mean, besides Anthony Rizzo at first base and I guess Glaber at second, it's like shortstop and third base. There's so many interchanging pieces there, and there's so many like variables, and there's so many storylines that, I mean, because you have DJ, Donaldson, Peraza, Volpe, IKF, right? All guys that are going to be battling for two positions, which is crazy to think about. Because then it's also like, yo, if DJ's healthy and DJ's producing, what do you do with Donaldson in that situation, right? Like,
Well,
and
what we would do is
but I'm
put him on the bench, but that's definitely, yeah.
No, but let's say Donaldson's raking as well.
I'll take that problem though. Another thing about Peraza and IKF, it looked bad last year when they called him up, admitted IKF was pretty much no longer the starting shortstop with how bad his defense was in the playoffs. Peraza was starting over him. To kind of go back on that and have IKF opening day in the lineup, I think that would be a shit show. Oh, also, talk about consistent playing time. The main thing I don't want them to mess up with Anthony Volpe is once he's called up to be the shortstop, if that's where you see him long term, he plays shortstop. End of story. No switching him back and forth between short and second, like no nonsense like that they kind of did with Glaber when he was coming up. If he's your shortstop, he's your shortstop. The second he gets called up, you keep him there and kind of run through the highs and lows with him. Like let him develop. Like I don't think they would give up on him or anything like that, or just hopefully wouldn't play any games. But once he's up, like that's your guy. Whether that means Peraza goes a second, he gets traded, whatever that may be. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
1,000%. I think it's going to be very interesting to start the season to see what the Yankees are going to do.
Yeah.
But I will say, no matter who the Yankees starting shortstop is on opening day, I don't think he'll be their starting shortstop by the end of the season. That's just me, though.
I like that take. I'm with you on that.
Getting into topic number 2 here, Brian Cashman recently stated that Aaron Hicks will likely be the guy in left field come opening day. Obviously, stirred up a lot of chaos on social media because, Yankee fans hate Aaron Hicks, and whether you think it's reasonable or not, that's up to you. But I guess that kind of makes us wonder now, are we upset that the Yankees let Andrew Benintendi go to the White Sox? Because it didn't really seem like there was any sort of serious discussions to bring Benintendi back to the Bronx. I mean, I know a lot of people wanted it, but do we think that it's now a worse decision than we originally thought it was? Because, dude, do you remember when it first happened, we kind of brushed it off as if it wasn't that big of a deal? Or do you still feel the same way?
I don't feel the same way, no, because at the time when that happened, I was thinking, okay, that's fine because we want Brian Reynolds. But I don't think maybe I understood what the asking price was at that point. I considered it still kind of realistic. You could get him for Jason Dominguez, Oswald, Peraza, basically without giving up Volpe. But knowing kind of what we know now, and that a Reynolds deal, at least for probably is off the table at this point, yeah, I kind of wish we got Benintendi back. It would have been so simple, I feel like. The mindset of the Yankees offseason, whether we consider it a success or not, I think you'd be looking at most Yankee fans giving us at least like a B+ or like almost an A if you did everything you currently have with Rodon, Judge, bring back Rizzo. You Benintendi on top of that, man. Good ass offseason with a healthy DJ back and the kids coming up. You could maybe almost make the argument that, like, okay, we're in the fold of the Astros now. Like, we're borderline just as good. If I could almost let somebody argue that we're better if we had Benintendi. So while I wasn't on that train at the time, in hindsight, yeah, like I kind of wish we just did the simple move and got Benintendi done.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I definitely would have done that deal. And I think it would be tough to find a Yankee fan that wouldn't, especially when you look at their left field situation right now and you hear Brian Cashman coming out and being like, yo, Aaron Hicks seems like he's going to be the guy. I think I know also it's kind of Cashman just talking smoke.
Totally.
Talking up a guy that, one, he's trying to trade, and two, he's never going to be like, yo, this guy who's in our organization under contract for the next few years sucks. Like, he's never going to say that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think while at the same time, like, we're hearing that from Cashman, I think it also just sucks that it's like at the end of the day, we know that they're willing to go with Aaron Hicks to start the season in left field. I mean, while he is talking him up, we know that it's a very, very real possibility at this point because the only two organizational options are him and Oswaldo Cabrera. And we know Oswaldo is kind of more a utility piece. So you could easily see Hicks as that starting left fielder. And I think it's just disgraceful at this point. I mean, I know we're satisfied with the Yankees offseason, right? But I do think that it's absolutely disgraceful. And I'll continue to stand on this. What's like a
Hill?
Tree stump? On the hill. I'm standing on the hill. That the Yankees offseason has still been disgraceful in the sense of they haven't improved the offense. And I know you could say that they've improved the offense by getting DJ back and that Volpe is going to be up midseason, it's just not enough, bro.
Yeah.
Especially
so
when
where
you
are you
look
at
it,
then? Are you like letter grade Yankees offseason if it were done?
I guess like B-, C+. I mean, I would probably lean more towards B-, but I mean, nothing that's pushing them past the Astros. And I think that's the most important thing. And coming into the offseason, that's what we were looking at. What can the Yankees do to push themselves past the Houston Astros? And it was run it back with like Rizzo and Judge. Make sure you bring those guys back. Get Rodon. Cool. But you're missing the most important thing of the offseason that we came in looking for. And that's adding, not bringing back, adding an impact bat or two. And they haven't even added one. So
Yeah. I'm with you. I would give him maybe a B minus, and I still think even with Rodon, that's kind of being generous. Being optimistic though, I do want to say that this team right now is good enough, I think, to win the AL East. We're better than the Blue Jays.
Sure.
We'll talk about in a moment. So ultimately, what matters is that until July 31st, and the roster that we'll see in October, it's not finalized yet. We still can make another move or two. Also, we talk about whether it was a mistake not bringing up Benintendi. Dude, you should just sign Michael Conforto. Honestly,
Sure.
like, if you just brought in Conforto, dude,
He got paid, but I know
it was
what
like
you mean.
218. What was his deal? It was
I think it
like
was for more
2
than
years,
that.
18 a year or something like that.
Yeah, 18 a year, I
Yeah,
believe.
still though, or any of them. I think this is all obviously like hindsight's 2020. Like I wasn't infatuated by Conforto or even Benintendi at the time, but it would have been just so much simpler, especially knowing like what the Pirates are asking for Reynolds.
Moving on to topic number 3 here. Damn, it's kind of a fun one. At the Blue Jays like winter fan meetup. I don't know what it was. It was in some high school auditorium. Some little girl asked Vlad Guerrero Jr. I don't even know the easiest team to face. I think it was. So you have the video, right?
What team was the easiest to play this year?
Oh, Vladdy wants to answer that?
The Yankees.
The Yankees.
The absolute nerve. First of all, did you think that was Tim LeCastro to the left of him at first? I believe it's Kevin Kiermaier.
It's very obviously Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, well,
very
at first it looked like Tim LeCastro. Yeah, that's quite hilarious. Remember, do we remember the house incident, Pat?
Bro, it's so weird at this point. Like, first of all, the first thing I did when I saw this video was I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure the Yankees had a winning record against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they were
right?
11-8.
But also, even if they didn't, right, the Yankees still won the AL East. So it's just an insane. I know like Vlad's like trolling. It's kind of like his thing at this point that he's just like a Yankee hater. And like I get it. It's like his shtick. But you just look stupid when you're not backing it up with your on-field performance. Sure, Vlad has had like some good career performances against the Yankees, but your team has not won the AL East like against these Yankees, bro, like at all. So you can like sit here and talk all the trash you want, but the Yankees had a winning record against you last year, right? I'm pretty sure in 2021 the Blue Jays might have had a winning record against them, but like
maybe, but we ended their season in 2021. Remember that series against the Jays in late September where Robbie Rice shit the bed and we pretty much ended their playoff hopes. We all know the story from September where Vlad, they walked us off the night before and he was like, this is my house, whatever. And then we sweep them and not sweep them, but we clinch the division the very next day in their own house. It's so funny, bro, because they always say, I always hear Blue Jays fans like use the Astros against us. Like, oh, the Astros are your daddy. Well, then I guess they're your grandfather because we own you. Like it's
no, but
like,
dude,
the only fan base that can talk trash about us is the Astros, and rightfully so. Like you can say everything a fan base could possibly say about another fan base if you're an Astros fan to us. Blue Jays fans, though, you literally have nothing. If there's one team we actually have fortunately owned over the past few years, it is them. So, like, out of all people, and not to say this is a huge deal, like you said, they're at a winter fest, Vlad just having a good time, but it's like a consistent theme, I feel like, among these Blue Jays. They think they have the Yankees number. Remember last year, was it them who were saying, like, I think in season 2, they said, like, they're not afraid of us.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually insane. I mean, you bring up the Astros comp, right? That's like if the Yankees did one of these, like, winter festivals in some high school, and they're asked the question, who's the easiest team to face? And Aaron Judge is like, yo, the Astros. Like, literally. Bro, what? Like, as a Yankee fan, I'd be embarrassed, you know?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Absolutely. And, isn't that so true? Like, if the Astros are our daddy, then they're the Blue Jays' grandfather. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because we own them, bro. We own the Blue Jays. And I'm ready for it this year. They've kind of become my new, in terms of in division, like with the Red Sox kind of being ass, I guess the Rays too, but the Blue Jays are the current rivalry in division. Like, they're the team I hate the most. You know what I mean? It was the Rays a few years back. Red Sox always be like a lifetime thing. But like this current squad, they are not a likable bunch, Pat. The current squad.
I think it's fair. But yo, I brought up Aaron Judge. Did you see the video of Aaron Judge at the Apollo? Drake did two. First of all, I wish I could have gone. Drake did 2 shows at the Apollo. You couldn't buy tickets. They were like giveaway tickets, whatever. Aaron Judge was there. And I guess like people saw him in the crowd, started doing a "Let's Go Yankees" chant. Run the video, please.
Here we go.
Okay, that's basically it.
Yo, I don't want to ever hear anybody say that Aaron Judge is not the face of baseball. This is one of those moments, Pat, where I think even you have to appreciate like the Yankee brand is still elite. Aaron Judge is an elite superstar in baseball. And yes, part of it is because he plays for the most popular franchise in the sport. But is that happening with Shohei Ohtani? Are you seeing, if this contract, say we're in Los Angeles or whatever, or Anaheim, are there being "Let's Go Angels" chants out there for him? No. And also, Judge looks
No.
so badass in the way he's
I know.
reacting. He's like, he's a pimp,
Bro,
bro. Imagine having your wife right there. I understand they've been together for like 10, 15 years, but like, you know, when like some dope happens to you in front of a girl and it's just like, yeah, I kind of feel like the shit right now. How can you not feel like the shit if you're Aaron Judge? Just hit 60 home runs in a record-breaking season, signed for 9 years, 300 and shit. What was the contract again? Why am I forgetting? 360 over 9. Yeah. You're the king of New York. Everybody loves you. Bro, being Aaron Judge would be a pretty nice time.
Dude, I woke up this morning and saw this, and I have to admit, this might be a reach to some people, but I don't care. This is one of the coolest videos I've ever seen. Just putting into perspective how important Aaron Judge is, not only to the city of New York, but also just in pop culture, right? I mean, because I look at it this way. If Aaron Judge went to like, I don't know, like a Yankees meet and greet or something, like I would expect something like this. But
Yeah.
he's at a Drake show at the Apollo. Like, not necessarily like a crowd that I would expect to be like Yankee fans and also like avid to like notice players and stuff like that. So the fact that Aaron Judge is like getting noticed and starting like "Let's Go Yankees" chants at Drake concerts, bro, this is a huge deal, and it's the most awesome thing that I've ever seen in my life.
Dude,
beautiful stuff.
And it's not like he's wearing like a Yankee hat or nothing.
I
like,
know.
For all you know, he's up there, some dude and his wife, and obviously,
And you know, Judge is super low key.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, those chants are loud too. Like they weren't just like a couple people saying like "Let's go Yankees, what up, Judge?" Like that's like, you could have just played the audio for me, bro, and like told me that was ALDS game 1, and I would have been like,
no, I know,
yo, I kind of believe you. But
one more thing I'm going to say about this, I love it so much. I think you could probably relate to this. If I'm talking to like a very casual person that I know isn't a Yankee fan, isn't a baseball fan, doesn't it make you so happy when they know who Aaron Judge is?
I ask them all the time. I'll be like, name every baseball player you know. And if you're a casual sports fan, the one they usually can always name is Aaron Judge. And because it goes beyond baseball. And that's what New York does for you. We've talked about on this show. It's been brought up for decades. Like, what's Derek Jeter's career if he comes up in Cincinnati or Kansas City? But like, dude, he is the guy. Like, I'm looking at it again right now. That's our representation of a superstar for our franchise. Like, that's what every kid who wants to be that or like wants to be a professional athlete. Another thing too, I was thinking about why I love or why I feel like everybody always wants to be a professional athlete, right? It's the closest thing you can become to like a real life superhero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no profession or job that can give you the feeling similar to whereas if you were like Spider-Man in that sense. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I feel like what we do is kind of like superheroes.
Yeah, I guess, Pat, if you can say that. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you could legitimately go about your life and have the vibe like, I'm in a movie right now. There's not too many professions you can really do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yo, moving on, topic number 4 here. One Yankee that we would say that we're worried about going into 2023. I know we're talking about Aaron Judge. Obviously, he's not going to be the guy here. But who do you have the most concerns about going into this season?
Okay, so I really want to make sure I explain this right because it could come off the wrong way. I'm going with Jose Trevino, and the reason is no diss against him, nothing like that. He's great with the defense, and that's what we pay him for. Or pay him is what $2 million a year he gets. The offense, though, I think some people are expecting a little bit too much. If you for the first time saw Jose Trevino this past year as a Yankee fan, the first half he was great, was an above league average hitter, really kind of fell off towards the end. That's the guy we all should be expecting because before the 2022 season, he played 156 games, 519 plate appearances, essentially a full season, right? 245 average with a 69 OPS plus. That's who Jose Trevino is. So if I were one to like be expecting a lot of him, he's somebody to be concerned about. I kind of just want to temper expectations a little bit, if you will. Don't expect a lot from Jose Trevino with the bat.
Sure. I think that that's fair. And that's actually one guy I thought of when I was preparing for this question. But then I kind of thought to myself, in terms of like the way I view it, I'm not concerned about him just because I view him as a defense first catcher anyway. So whatever offense you get out of him, I'll be satisfied by. But I have 2 guys for this pick. One is who I'm the most worried about personally. And the second one is who I'm worried about for the sake of them and like their job security, I'd say. One who I'm worried about, you might not like this one, but it's Clay Holmes. I think we kind of came into this offseason forgetting a little bit the disaster that Clay Holmes was for part of the 2022 season. I know he kind of rebounded a good amount going into the postseason.
And that's why
But
I would disagree with you. Like, I think he finished really, really strong. But
he finished strong. He finished strong, but I'm still not completely sold that he's the guy, right? And I know, like, as a Yankee, we've seen more good than bad out of Clay Holmes, but the bad was like really, really bad. So before I go into the 2023 season, really being confident in Clay Holmes as the Yankee closer, I'm being very cautious. I guess I could say I'm a little bit worried. Maybe worried isn't the right word. I would say I'm more cautious about Clay Holmes than I am worried. But
real quick before you get to your next one, I disagree only because, like I said, I think he was 90% close to the guy he was in the first half once he came back from like the IL injury and just kind of fixing his release point closer to the playoffs. Clay Holmes is pretty damn good. Also, if it doesn't work out, the bullpen is in pretty good shape. Like you can either go to, you have Loizaga, you have King that can close. Obviously, we saw Wandy do it in the playoffs sometimes. We got some dogs in there that like will be able to handle the job if Clay's not good enough. I do think he will be though, but bro, I hear you. I don't think it's a blasphemous take by you.
It was honestly like really tough to pick like a Yankee.
It was
concerned about just because I'm like so positive going into the season,
Yeah.
But the guy who I'm concerned like for the sake of them, Kyle Higashioka. Been a part of the Yankees organization for so long. I don't even think he makes it to spring training with the team, to be honest with you. I think we've talked about this a couple times. I think Ben Rourke is the backup catcher moving forward. And I think it would be so smart for them to do so. Left-handed guy. Apparently has some pop too. So yeah, I think I would be shocked if Kyle Higashioka was still a Yankee by the trade deadline.
Me too. I would, by the trade deadline, absolutely. I still kind of predict he'll be gone by opening day, I believe. So,
yeah, that's
like a job
possible.
security standpoint, if like that's what your point is, yeah, I think so. Which he was, had a nice little dude. He's been with the Yankees like 2006, I think, like in their minor leagues.
Long time.
It'll be like almost like a freaking.
I don't know about 2006. That seems like a stretch.
I'm pretty sure maybe it was 2009. Because remember when he first got called up in 17, he was already in the Yankees minor league system for 10 years.
Was he?
Let's see. Yeah, let me see when Kyle Higashioka got drafted. Kyle Higashioka was drafted by the Yankees in 2008. So I was 2 years off. But yeah, either way.
Moving on to topic number 5 here. We told you guys last episode we're going to start doing viewer questions again. Make sure to hit up the email. It's in the description, right? What is it? Yankees Avenue Show at gmail.com.
The Yankees Avenue Show at gmail.com. I'll put it on the description below or like in the little FYI thing. But yeah, you send an email there and that's how you get your questions answered. I think this week we're just going to do one, but there's a good chance we end up answering like multiples. So send your questions in.
Yeah, this is actually a really good one. Starting off with a bang. These are the type of questions we're looking for. This one's from John Trott. He says, which Yankee would be the hottest girl? What are you thinking for this one?
All right, I'll try to find the picture for the B-roll. No, my answer is not whoever's playing Anthony Volpe in that 90s show. My answer is, I remember I saw a picture that I didn't know was transformed, and it happened to be Gleyber Torres with the wig, and I did call her hot, like to my friends. I was like, this girl's kind of bad. Like it was Gleyber with like had some makeup on, like little what's that like rose shit girls put on? Like he looked legitimately like a girl. Blush, yeah, he looked like a girl. Obviously had like they give him long hair and shit. I think I go Gleyber Torres.
Man, this one's actually a really good question because I'm thinking I'm thinking even past Yankees, bro. The one that pops in my head automatically is Gary Sanchez. I don't know why, but if we're going current Yankees, I think I'd probably go Tommy Kahnle.
Oh, I don't see that. Nah. He looks so. I feel like no matter what, bro, he'll still look like a dude almost. I feel like how are you gonna make him look like a girl?
I don't know about that. I'm imagining. Gleyber Torres is a good pick too.
Yo, Oswald though.
No,
Oswald's got that smile that you can just fall in love with. Good question.
I don't know
John
what you're talking about. Actually,
you got a nice little smile. Put a wig on that, bro. Hell,
which Yankee do you think has the best smile?
Waldo.
I would say Judge with the new teeth.
Judge has the most like badass, like I'm a cool ass motherfucker smile.
You know who has the most wholesome smile?
Can I guess?
Yeah, sure.
Yankee?
Yeah.
Pitcher?
No. It's like guess who? It'll give it away. No.
All right, who?
Rizzo. Such a wholesome smile.
I thought about him a little bit. He just would seem like Rizzo with a wig reminds you just like an obnoxious like the way it would look, like an obnoxious 12-year-old girl like getting on the bunch with like her lunch pail and just looks very like proper, like kind of like we go to a private school. That's how I imagine Rizzo with a wig if he was a girl. The way he looks,
Sure.
He's the kind of question.
Not really, but
These are the kind of questions we're looking
No,
for.
it is.
So shout out to, what was it, John?
John Trott.
John
think that's how you
Trott.
pronounce it.
Good question, my friend. And yo, for those who are sending in some questions, that's kind of what we're looking for. Weird, outlandish stuff. But yeah, is that gonna do it for this episode, Pat? Maybe like the craziest episode of all time. I don't even know if it'll come off that way to them. But let me tell you guys,
Probably won't.
we put in a good hour of work before this to get this show running, and it was kind of a disaster, but I wouldn't want it any other way. You wanna know why,
Yeah.
Pat? Because you with a wig would look bad as hell. What? What did you say? Dude, you got to stop being weird on the show. I told you. I'm not
Same
going to
to
keep
you,
cutting this
bro.
shit, bro. I'm not going to keep cutting this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah. Where can they find you at, Pat?
Follow me on Twitter at Unhinged Patrick, on Instagram at True Hennessy, and then also follow me on MySpace at Dan Allen Rourke's best friend.
You are my best friend, Pat. Dan on Rourke on Twitter, Yankees Avenue Instagram. Subscribe here on YouTube, and like subscribe to the Yankees Ave Show Clips channel. I'll link that below. And yeah, that can do it, Pat. We done?
Yeah, we love you guys.
Love you
That's-
so much. We'll be back on Friday. See you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees.